They tryna turn Trenton into Baby Flint. Been signs by depression on the billboards ever since. 100 years ago we was lynched. Now they use germ warfare to kill us. I'm convinced, got the evidence. I look around and it's evident. Then go down to City Hall and see so much negligence. Real art is intelligent. A true artist sends messages that speak to your intelligence. They fought and died so I can do my thing. Not to get drunk and high or join no gang. I will not let none of you die in vain. For my people I bang, bang, bang. My ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. My ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. I rep for you in everything I do. I rep for you in every place I go. I rep for you in everything I do. In every place I go. They say post-traumatic slavery disorder's fake, but I just tell them all to wake up. Everything we went through, what a way down a rape, bro. Isn't all genetic makeup. So I am my ancestors from block to block. Let's build like it's Tetris. We must unite, link up like a necklace. They fought and died and we disrespected. So I come to correct it. The legacy they left I protected. We only think about self and neglected. You're African but yet you rejected. No, my ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. My ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. I rep for you in everything I do. I rep for you in every place I go. I rep for you in everything I do. In every place I go. I do. I go.
Welcome back to another edition of New Freedom Exchange, your social expression, cultural expression for social dignity and community empowerment. I'm your co-host, Brother Deen, here with
Sister Marsha. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. And Imam Hassan here with my beloveds, Sister Marsha and Brother Deen. We here, live and direct. New Freedom, man. Streaming everywhere. Well, almost streaming everywhere. Soon we'll be streaming everywhere. Right now we're on Twitch, streaming live on Twitch. That's the newest platform. So if you're on Twitch, you can catch us on there as NFX streaming. And of course, like the page, New Freedom Exchange on Facebook, and also New Freedom Exchange on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. What's going on, beloveds?
Everything's pretty chill. It was a nice day today. Not too much happening. How about you guys? How you feeling?
Yeah, you know it's Wednesday, it's family night, so I'm about to get my head chopped off.
Don't be cutting into family night, man. You gonna get beat up.
Yeah, I got a few more. I just wanted to greet out there, brothers. You know, from the home team. You know what I mean. So I had to come on and give them a shout out. But we had a good day today. We went to a shout out to all the community organizations, faith based and otherwise, who do community feeding. I know we're going to talk about that a little later on about some of the things that the imams do and you all do at Marsha Muhammad. But we went to a nice community fair today, neighborhood group, and they provided full meals. We also had they introduced something called the community learning community literacy program, where they have this big old garage that they're going to allow school age children to come and read and just get out the house for a little bit during the school time. So just shout out to all the organizations, community organizations that those little small things definitely make a difference, very good impact on the children. So
Absolutely. I mean, COVID's got us cooped up. So I know for the children, it's getting to be a bit much. So as much as they can do in a safe way, the better. So alhamdulillah for initiatives like that.
Yeah. How about you, Bilal? What was you up to today?
Beloved, just Just chilling, man. Just chilling, and also working on a couple of other guests. Inshallah, that we have some more content to deliver to you all. A couple more guests in the chamber. We just got a couple more confirmations in the chamber for some people, so we'll be unraveling that real soon. And just grateful for again good health, man. Good health, and grateful for family also being in good health as well. So can't complain, alhamdulillah. And the sun came out today, so I was happy about that too. The 2 days before that, we had to deal with the clouds, man, the rain, which was a good thing. We need the rain for the earth, but you know how that go. Sometimes people feel a little depressed, a little down because it's cloudy, it's not sunny outside. So so I'm glad the sun came out today. Alhamdulillah for the sun, man. So a quick shout out, wa alaikum salam, brother Khalid Abdullah Islam, from our Blog Talk Radio crew. Thank you, brother, for tuning in, and also our big brother, Big Khalif Yusuf from Philadelphia, who was our guest a couple weeks ago. Check out that podcast, that episode. That's also on YouTube and also on Facebook as well. So, wa alaikum salam, brother Khalif Yusuf.
Don't forget Sister Khadija. Don't forget Sister Khadija.
I can't forget my sis. I can't forget my sis, man.
That's right. Assalamu alaikum, sis.
She's always supporting us and sharing our stuff to all these groups and different things. Get our analytics game up there, our sharing game up there, our viewership up there. So we're very appreciative for all those who share our content and like our content as well. But today we have an awesome show, as we always do. Have an awesome show and we're delivering awesome content. As you know, this is Islamic Heritage Month, the month of October. Islamic Heritage Month, as recognized in Washington, D.C., as recognized in Philadelphia, and as recognized across the mainland of Canada, actually. Throughout the mainland of Canada, Islamic Heritage Month is recognized throughout the provinces there. So for honor of that, and in conjunction of that, we wanted to bring the new leadership of Masjid Muhammad Newark, formerly known as Masjid Ali K Muslim, to the show to talk to us about a lot of different things, specifically what's going on at the masjid, what's new, introduce who they are to the platform, what they do for a living, and just vibe out. We know the history of Newark is very rich.
Yes.
Muslim al-Islam, going back to the Moorish Science Temple, Noble Drew Ali, probably even further back, but definitely going back to the Moorish Science Temple, the Noble Drew Ali. So hopefully we get a little bit of that history with our beloved brothers today. As we bring them on, I know I have received one of their bios, so Imam Antar, we're just gonna bring them all on at the same time. They all gonna introduce themselves. They're not gonna read no bios.
Yes.
Bring them on.
These are my imams. These are my imams.
Come on, man. Let's bring them on, man. We got them on.
Get them in. Assalamu
alaikum.
These guys on mute. Let me get these guys off mute, man.
Yes, get them off mute.
You're live.
Walaikum assalam. What's going on?
Good.
Everything's good. Happy to see my imams.
Alhamdulillah.
Welcome to New Freedom Exchange. We heard one of y'all had a birthday. Our dear brother Imam Antar.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes. Shout out my bestie for y'all. For those of you who don't know, Imam Antar is my bestie.
Crazy.
So we absolutely gonna shout out his birthday on here. And actually, and in addition to that, and I know we're gonna bring Imam Hassan back on, but he just had a birthday too on the 8th. So
man.
Yeah, so we got that's double. Yes, that's double.
Whammy, man. We had to play that Stevie Wonder joint, man.
Yes.
It's good to see our brothers, man. It's good to have you guys on the platform. You know what I'm saying? For a second, we're gonna allow you all to introduce yourselves. So whoever wants to go first, go right ahead. Imam Antar, you wanna go first?
No, I'm gonna defer to our Imam, Imam Hassan first. Him or Imam Jackson. Follow protocol, inshallah.
Yes, right. Follow. Yeah. That's true. Let's do that. Let's bring the brother back in, man. Assalamu alaikum, Imam Hassan.
You gotta get him off mute.
Let me see. You gotta turn us off mute, man. He said he put us on mute, man. Just try to unmute, beloved. He said you can't unmute the guests, man. Yo.
Yeah, just press that button. It's a button right next over your picture. It once you hit it, it'll go off.
Yeah.
Just gonna check it.
No, you don't see it? Let me see. Let me check the chat, man. Check the chat.
Yeah, I tried to take them off. I couldn't either.
I'm not hearing you guys. Hold on. So, apologize.
Look at this guy. What is he? Nino and Stitch. Look at him.
Yes, that's our community community development center.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me see. In the chat real quick. Can you mute yourself? This is strange.
While they get that together, we do like to also, as we mentioned on our platform, I think a few days ago, we had Imam Wesley LeBron, and he shared about the dawah efforts of the Hispanic people, the Spanish people here on these shores, and how they're growing, one of the fastest growing in the religion of Islam. And some of the terminology he used, and a few of our guests that we had that give the Muslim or Quranic terminology, we do like to give some explanation or definitions to some of our non-Muslim or non-Quranic understanding people. So no need, of course, most people know the greetings, assalamu alaikum, the peace be upon you all. Sometimes you would hear someone say na'am, which is an agreement or a yes. What are some other terms that we've heard on our show?
I think Nam was probably the one that was probably mostly used where maybe the guests were like, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, inshallah means God willing. We say alhamdulillah. The praise belongs to God. In fact, when we like to get on our show also, Amir Suleiman, he got a nice track called Alhamdulillah Hallelujah, and he goes back and forth showing the I guess the definition of both, meaning the praise belongs to God. So how we doing on sound?
I think we still got him on mute.
Okay.
That's how he's looking from my end.
Well, I'm trying to see why is it that I can't unmute them? I cannot unmute you guys from my end. You see what I'm saying? So can you guys unmute yourselves with the mic? He said Imam Hassan still can't hear us. I don't know if y'all seen. Can y'all see? I wrote in the chat. Can you say that you hear me, man? Let's see.
Oh, there go Yasin now.
Okay, Yasin, you're good, right? Speak, man.
Yeah.
Say something.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum
assalam. Okay.
Okay, you're good. The only person that's not
good. Can y'all hear me well?
Yeah, we hear you good. We're trying to get Imam Hassan audio to come off.
Yeah, check Imam Hassan mic symbol. I think it's his mic symbol.
Yeah.
On the video.
Hold on 1 second.
Hold on. No, you're good. Let me just fall back here.
Here we go.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes. Assalamu
alaikum, man. How are you?
I'm well. Alhamdulillah. How are you guys?
Alhamdulillah, we are doing well.
Doing well.
It's honored to have all three of you on this platform. There.
That's all right. We'll get them back in here.
There you go again. While we wait for our beloved to come back, our beloved Imam Hassan Sharif to come back. Yeah, maybe the connection. Maybe the Fed's trying to tap us, man. You know how they do, man.
Yeah, we know for being tapped in Newark, so that ain't nothing new.
Yes, I was about to say, and we got Newark in the building tonight. Sometimes people don't want to see progress, and we about to go all the way through the roof. So
that's right. Imam Hassan, can you hear us?
I hear you loud and clear. Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
Good. Alhamdulillah.
There we go.
So we're gonna allow you to go first to introduce yourself, Imam. Let the people know who you are. Who is Imam Hassan Sharif? Who is Imam Hassan Sharif? For people who don't know.
Assalamu alaikum to all. Peace be unto you. Imam Hassan Sharif. Born in New York, raised in Newark, Brick City, New Jersey, rough town. If you don't have strength in Newark, the streets will eat you up here. But all praise to Allah. We're survivors of this town, and we want to change the dynamics of the town to a righteous town, to a better town. for our future, inshallah. So I work for the Department of Homeland Security. I keep you guys safe when you are traveling. That's what I do at night, overnight. Inshallah, that we're doing as we should do to keep you guys safe to as far as you're flying, making it to your destination and back.
Alhamdulillah.
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 Thank you. So who wants to go next? Yasin or Antar, man? So
Yasin.
I don't know what the protocol is. Oh, Yasin. Okay. Yasin, you up?
All right. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Well, I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all know me, but for those who don't, my name is Imam Hassan Shabazz, born and raised in Newark, and to be specific, Southward Chancellor Avenue, to be exact, in Newark. Born and raised in this community all my life, second generation Muslim. My parents, my father, he came through, the first, experience, which I'm pretty sure, we'll get into a little later. And, I'm a descendant of that. And, my main goal, or should I say all of our main goals, is to continue to push this community forward. It's a lot of work when it comes to Newark. It ain't just about talking and, giving good lectures, giving good speeches. You have to put the work in. So all three of us, we out here, in the thick of things each and every day. And that's basically, what we do. And that's basically our mission. That's basically, our goals. Right there.
Last but not least,
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, Imam Antar Mateen. I consider myself, believe it or not, I don't know if this is a bad thing, but the good muscle, not the bad muscle of the masjid. We bring, I like to say that one of the problem solvers in our community when it comes to Masjid Muhammad Newark, where we can just work together in the great city of Newark. But I work for a private security firm, regional director of security as my work profession, assistant imam at Masjid Muhammad Newark, Claire Muhammad School from kindergarten to 8th grade, went to West Side, Essex County College. And I'm just a product of my environment, and we making it through during these times of adversity. And alhamdulillah, I wouldn't want to be from a different place, believe it or not, from Newark, because you gotta be something different if you're coming from Newark. Anybody around the country can tell you that. When you're from Newark, they look at you with a different look when you're from Newark. It could be a bad thing or it could be a good thing, but we take it as good though. But alhamdulillah, Newark a special place, and as Imam Muhammad said, may Allah be pleased with him.
Amen.
He said if he had to come to Newark, crawl. So this was the words of our great leaders. So it must be something special about New-Ark. So I'm here. Thank you, New Freedom Exchange, the believers that's listening on Twitch, Facebook. Inshallah, we'll give y'all a good show tonight.
Amen.
Yes. So I'll start us off. Many people know about the rich history of Newark, New Jersey, and Masjid Muhammad Newark, also known as Masjid Ali K. Muslim, temple number 25. And it's so interesting, right? Because I remember meeting different people just in my daily walk, and mentioning that I go to a masjid in Newark, and I would say, well, I go to Masjid Ali K. Muslim, and they're like, what is that? And they would say, where is it? And I say, South Orange Avenue. They say, oh, you're talking about 25? Now, and at first, I didn't even know what they were talking about. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I found out. So it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I go to 25. So a lot of people do know about the rich history of Newark, but I'm not sure that all of our listeners know. So just give us a brief overview of the significance that Masjid Muhammad Newark has played in Islam in the city of Newark and across the country.
Who we deferring to? I would defer to.
I was going, Imam Yassin.
Yeah, I was going to defer to him, and I just want to make a quick mention before Yassin jump in. Everybody referred to Masjid Muhammad as Masjid Ali K. Muslim, but like Sister Marsha was saying, before it was Masjid Ali Muslim, it was Masjid Muhammad. So we just went back to its original name. Everybody just thinking it was that one thing, but I just wanted to make that keynote. But I want to pass it over to the professor and
Professor,
and, we'll go from there.
Inshallah. So the thing and what makes Newark so special is that Al-Islam has had a stronghold in this city for generations. Even Bilal, he had mentioned it in the introduction that Al-Islam was here. Even back during the days of Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Science Temple. So you had that going on, in the 40s and the early 50s. And once the Nation of Islam, or the teachings of the Nation of Islam, crept its way in the city, you had a strong following under those teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. May Allah be pleased with him and grant him the highest level of paradise for all the great work that he has done in reforming the mindset of a people that was deaf, dumb, and blind. And the thing about Newark, it had a strong community even before it had a building. Even before it even had a number. So, just to give like a quick brief history, on how, it came about as far as Al-Islam here in the city. You had what was called the council. As I said before there was a temple, you had what it was called the council. And the council consisted of, certain people in the community. You have some of them, who Allah has called back over the years. You have some that are still amongst us, today, and that still, are attend this very masjid, to this day. And you had a group of them that used to meet, in their own apartments, once or twice a week, learning and discussing the teachings of the Nation of Islam. And it got to a point where, across the river, Malcolm X got wind of it, because I believe someone had wrote a letter to Chicago saying that, they wanted a minister. And if someone, if any of the pioneers who are on here on Facebook or any other social media platform, you can chime in and correct me if need be. But they had, Malcolm had found out that it was a community growing in Newark. So Malcolm came and started teaching the community over here. And what was going to happen was Malcolm, at this particular time, he was the minister of Temple 7 in Harlem. And at this time, before Newark even had a number, Jersey City had a number. I believe Jersey City was Temple number 20. And Jersey City was a satellite of Harlem. So Malcolm wanted to make Newark a satellite of Harlem, of number 7. But, Newark, us, being very, independent and very, strong-minded and wanting things our own, that didn't work out. So make a long story short, in around like I guess in the late 50s, 1958, the council, they had wrote a letter to Honorable Elijah Muhammad to come to Newark and speak. And Honorable Elijah Muhammad came to Newark, and you can hear some of that if you go on YouTube. You can just type in Honorable Elijah Muhammad Newark, and he gave a speech or gave a lecture, to the community, to the beginning stages, the early community of Muslims in the city at a particular time frame. And Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave Newark the number 25, right? And as I said before, this was before South Orange Avenue. This was before the Muslims at that particular time frame. They was meeting at different locations, so they had the name 25. So throughout the years, I'm skipping a lot because I don't want to be here all night. So I believe towards like the late 50s, like 59, going into 60, somewhere around that time frame, they was able, they had a place over 100th Street in Newark and a few other spots, the Mansion, over which is near High Street, which is now known as MLK Boulevard, Martin Luther King Boulevard. And by like 60, 61, somewhere around there, we wound up getting a building, which was an old movie theater at 257 South Orange Avenue. And Elijah Muhammad bought that building. I believe they say for $20,000. Some say it was a little bit more, but he bought the building, you know, for the believers of that time, and that building turned into the headquarters for, at that particular time, Temple 25. So, you know, from there, 257 South Orange Avenue, it's a historic, you know, landmark, not just in this city, but really in the whole entire East Coast, tri-state area, and really across the country, because all, you know, the messages that you see around the city or surrounding areas came from Marsha Muhammad or, you know, Temple 25, you know, and it started off, you know, with the different leadership. So the first leader of Temple 25 was Minister James Shabazz. Now, he wasn't the first leader in regards to the community of Muslims in Newark. The first leader was by this brother by the name of, you know, Hassan Kareem, who the community, you know, back, you know, right, you know, during the era of the council. Then, but, you know, Elijah Muhammad sent Minister James Shabazz to be the leader of, you know, of the community. And, you know, after, you know, Allah called Minister James back, you know, his son, Ibn Shabazz, or James Shabazz Jr., became the leader. Then from there, after him, Imam Hussein Shabazz. After him, Imam Ali Muslim. Then after him, Imam Akbar. And now, you know, we're under the leadership of Imam Hassan Sharif. And, you know, it's all about carrying, you know, this rich history, because, you know, we're known, Newark is known for being tough, right? I mean, and let me just be a little bit blunt. You know, we known for dealing with a lot of niggas up in here. I'm just keeping it 100 with you. So being in leadership position, being in leadership position, you have to show strength in order to deal with certain mentalities, you know, certain individuals that's out here, you know, and you know, that's what we're continuing to do. But as I said before, like, that's just like a quick, you know, I don't want to be too long-winded because I'm known for, you know, doing that, right? So, you know, I just want to give like a, you know, quick, you know, brief explanation of what, you know, the history is. And, you know, just to add briefly, and, you know, either Imam Hassan or Imam Antar could chime in, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Imam Wardi Muhammad, all two leaders, had a very, very rich connection with the city of Newark. You know, to the point where Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as I said before, gave the city the number 25. A lot of people don't know this. Honorable Elijah Muhammad had family that lived in Newark. You know, in North Newark at that time. So North Newark at that particular time was predominantly Italian. Now it's predominantly Puerto Rican and you know, Dominican, you know, Spanish. But he has family still amongst us to this day that live in Newark. And with you know, what Imam Antar said in regards to Imam Muhammad's connection with the city, you know, Imam Muhammad had a found respect and connection, you know, with the city of Newark. You know, as Imam Antar quoted, you know, Imam Muhammad said, you know, I will walk to Newark if I have to. Or, you know, he would make other comments to say that calling Newark the Mecca, or, you know, wherever Newark goes, the whole community or the whole country goes. It's because really of our dedication. You know, we look at the term Newark, or, you know, the term New-Ark, right? You know, remind you of what Allah says in Quran in Surah Al-Ankabut, which is the spider, when he was referencing talking about Noah and the companions of Noah, and how the ark is a sign to the whole entire humanity. Well, you know, what is the sign? You know, the sign is obedience to person.
We lost his sound for a second.
We lost your sound, brother.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you. Got you.
Yeah,
Got you.
yeah. My apologies, but
No, you got.
the sign represents our beings to Allah first and foremost, but also us being with like-minded people and building community life, because that's the basis of our Islam, is promoting and building community life. In order to build community life, you have to have a heart for your fellow neighbor that's out there. Right. And one thing that makes this city so special, and I'll defer back to my brothers, is this.
Yeah. So
What
just
makes
give the
this
Jew out today, man. Just go ahead and give the Jew out,
no,
Wednesday night football.
just quickly, and I'm on this note, what just makes us, just so special is, we talk about Newark has all this, stigma, around it, but what brings us together and what makes us special is our determination for the sense of leadership and doing what's right, by our community. And that's really not just, as I said, we're not talking about it, not just professing, but really, rolling up our sleeves and getting the work done.
We'll talk about that real quick as we transition. When you gave us a thorough chronological development of not just the influence of Newark from the people, but also from the leaders. Can you talk? One of the imams talk about the significance of the transition, right? So we were in Christianity. We accepted a form of Islam that presented the Quran to us. We called ourselves ministers. Then we transitioned to the term imam. So the significance of leadership evolution, but also the evolution of the title, and also as Imam Yassin just finished up, not just presenting himself as a speaker, but also as a doer.
As you all know here, myself, Imam Yassin, Imam Antar were born into religion. So when it comes to the transition, I learned it by the pioneers expressing their experiences from the nation to Islam.
Right.
So like Osman Sharif or Wali Muslim and so forth. So in particular, I don't know about the transition from minister to imam. I know from imam on. So, but the information that was given to me led me into the leader that I am today, because those brothers built the foundation. There's many others, but when you say Osman Sharif, he was a man. May Allah forgive me, since he's been in paradise.
Amen.
He was a man of a stronghold in the city, and he had on his heart Al-Islam, the establishment of Al-Islam. He was a minister. He was, if I'm not mistaken, he was up in rank. And for him to establish Islam in America was alhamdulillah, because if you don't know the history of Osman Sharif, he chased the drug dealers and the prostitutions out of the city to a point where they came back and false information, and he was locked up for almost 30 years. But Allah had blessed him to come home, and when he came home, that's the first time I met him. So if you know Osman and he liked you, he would give you a sincere hug. And then anytime he had a story, he would embrace you with the story, embrace you with the experience. So a lot of that is in me, as well as Imam Antar, as well as Yassin, because he wouldn't let you go. He would talk to you for about 20 hours if you want him to. But the experience that he gave me from his experience, it felt like I was there. So again, I wasn't inexperienced from the transition from minister to imam. But the position of imam right now, from being under the tutelage of Imam Ali Muslim, with him, Imam Deen Muhammad, our greatest leader that ever walked the earth of America, may Allah forgive him sins, and also we cannot shortchange Imam Akbar. There's also things that I learned from him as well, things that I shouldn't do, and so forth. So we have to be quite. It was a part of development. So if you know those synopsis on the difference of the transition, do so, please.
Assalamu alaikum. So just reflecting on back to Minister James, right? They said this is the son of thunder. So I will mention it because I remember giving the Juma one day at Master Water to Deen and Imam Deen Sharif. He said, "You teach like the son of thunder." I laughed, I smiled, and all I know is that he taught hard. But I can honestly say I never saw him teach before. I hear him on different YouTube videos and things like that. But when we talk about doers from transition to now, we have to reflect on Minister James Shabazz, right? So we talk about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad with the building, giving the building, buying the building at 20,000, 30,000, whatever it was. But we also have to recognize under his watch, under Minister James' watch, that across the street from the masjid, which is now present now, is New Community Corporation. But we also have to remember from our pioneers like Osman, Wali Muslim, Sultan, a lot of the brothers that was called back, not Wali Muslim, but he's still present with us. They reminded us that Minister James made sure that property was secured around the masjid at that particular time, so it wouldn't be so much of a burden. And this is being called minister. All right, we didn't even make the transition yet to imam, right? So we're thinking about this logic and saying that in our thinking as imam, we should be able to take it further. But alhamdulillah, our history shows us that they were already ahead of their time, right? So that came from again, Honorable Elijah Muhammad with those seeds that was planted. And then they took it further as ministers, and now our job to do it is to take it further than that, meaning that we have to continue to establish the community life. The community life is a result of the family life, which Brother Deen was getting ready to go into with community and family life. But I just want to allow us to understand that the structure was there prior to the term imam, and us taking it further with proper, as they will call it, al-Islam proper in this century right now. But they had it too back then. Just because they was called ministers, they just was doing things a little bit differently, but they had the spirit of going forward. So I want to be very clear on that, just making that kind of connection there, Brother Deen, with your question that you posed.
Yeah, no, and that's key because, like, as we was discussing with the other brother who was sharing how in other ethnic groups of Muslims, there's tension between, you know, the elders and passing the baton, right? And so we just wanted to bring that reality that you are not just present day leaders, you all survive a lot of turmoil and struggle, a lot of turmoil, and you kind of breeze past, but it's okay. We don't, like even Yasin said, you want to get too detailed, but there was some harsh climates in Newark among Muslims and among the people. They're just like in Philadelphia, just like in New York. And so when we talk about Islam, Islamic heritage and Islamic influence among the early indigenous Muslims here, I mean, stories is not enough. I mean, you know, like you all, I mean, because I know some of it, it's very powerful. So we just wanted to relay that to the public.
Brother Deen, if I might add, I want to be very clear. I have to be very clear because it wouldn't be in my nature to do so. The observation of legacy in Newark, and I'm saying this with sincerity, it's concerning. It's concerning because when we talk about, I'm not talking about Master Muhammad Newark. I'm talking about as a body of al-Islam in the African American community, specifically under the leadership of Imam Dr. Deen Muhammad. It's concerning because the baton, I'm not saying it wasn't passed, it's a problem being nurtured. I'm not talking about Master Muhammad Newark, and we could talk about that long days, long on a separate thing, but it's very concerning. But alhamdulillah, we got hope. But if I didn't say that to give the people a reality, I'll be doing a disservice to myself, and I'll be doing a disservice to you all, and a disservice to the Muslim community in Jersey, period. I'll be doing a disservice. But it's hope. It's great hope. Alhamdulillah. But it's a lot to do. We got a lot more to do. 2020 and moving forward. But I have to be clear by saying that for sure.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, Imam Antar. I'm glad that you cleared the air because, as you said, it's not limited just to Masjid Muhammad Newark. It's not just even limited to the state of New Jersey. It's a national issue of concern as relates to not the passing of the baton, as you said, but cultivating. I will even say as cultivating leadership. So when I look at you all, you three specifically, I see that cultivation of leadership. I see that shining light, and this leads into my next question, as relates to us men, us brothers. How do you see yourselves as, or do you see yourselves as beacons of light in the streets of Newark and in this community, in the streets of Newark and in this community and in general, the African American community, as far as being role models for the next generation?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, definitely. There's a saying: if you didn't walk the walk, you can't talk the talk. If you didn't walk the walk, you can't talk. And growing up in the city of Newark, you experience a lot of things going on. I mean, gun violence, black on black crime, drugs, prostitution, and to survive this by the grace of Allah and to come through this unharmed. I mean, you're going to have trials and tribulations in the city where they say blacks or whatever community you're part of. You're going to have in the city trials and tribulations. But when Allah brings you through this, yes, you can be a beacon, because those that knew you then and know you now say, wow, thank God you look beautiful, XYZ, and they come to you. How do you do it? Or how does it feel? And I get a lot of questions. How does it feel to be an imam? Why did you take the job? I said, I didn't take the job. It was given to me by Allah. So I don't want to be like Jonah, given a task and try to run from it, because you can't run from God. But Newark, if you can survive Newark, you can survive any minister or imam that led the charge in Newark had to be a brave imam, had to be a brave minister, because the people in Newark is a different and unique people. And there's still trials and tribulations going on right now where we're still dealing with the same thing, and it's more modern now. You got different types of drugs that's going on. They legalizing marijuana. You got perversion. So now we're dealing with a more in-depth task right now, because right now, if you realize, perversion is taking over the TV. It's in the streets. So this is something that we have to be mindful of, whereas though we don't allow our children to get caught up in it, or our communities, because you have different type of marketing groups that's pushing perversion towards Islam. So I mean, we definitely have to be careful. But living in the city of North has taught me a lot, and it heartened me. I mean, not only did I come out, I was a boxer. I box. Right now, I'm a personal trainer. So there's a lot of things that I did to occupy my time, because I didn't want to go on those streets. And I had a lot of brothers. I have a lot of brothers that were in the streets. They were my trials and tribulations also. So when I look at them, I say, you know what? I don't want to do that. And then I have a brother right now he's serving many years in prison. And he told me one day, and when I went to visit him, he said, if I ever see you here, I'm gonna kill you myself. So that was something to say, well, I'm never going to jail. So I don't want to go that path. So, and they were Muslim, but they weren't practicing Muslim. So my thing was, how can you say you're Muslim, but then you're not practicing? You're not establishing what Islam's supposed to represent, al-Islam. Because we have a habit of allowing people to say Islam, but it's al-Islam. So we have to correct that. It's not Islam, it's al-Islam. So I would ask them, and they would say to me, you just don't do it. You just lead a better path. And here's my path, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Yasin, Antar, talk to me, man. Talk to us.
I think Imam Hassan hit it right on the head. So I was going to say 31, but 33, just turned 33 yesterday. And believe it or not, it's precious. It's precious on us. I know for myself, a leadership position at the masjid, professionally with my work, to uphold the character of a Muslim, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's amazingly tough. like tough. The minute that I walk out my house, it's tough. But the reality of it is that we have a safe haven to go to. So, and this is part of the upbringing where I think my mother and my father, with my father passing at 10 years old, I was able to go to the masjid and look at Imam Hassan, Wali. I could name 20 brothers that helped raise me, but the masjid, that was a light. That was a light for us to go to. So we didn't have to go to the streets. Don't get us wrong, we got in trouble. Me and Imam Hassan, son, we both went to West Side. We stayed getting in trouble. My twin brothers, it was like a good, man, it was a good about 15, 20 of us. But we held our Islam together when we went to West Side High School in 2001 to 05. They knew we was Muslim and they knew not to mess with us. And what school you went to? We went to Claire Muhammad School. Now say something. You know what I mean? But it was that light for us that we was happy to go to Claire Muhammad School. It was just that it was what it is. Like, you know what I mean? So just having that regard for Al-Islam and that sacrifice that the pioneers made, where we can go to the masjid and pray freely and run around freely. That was our light. So it's many pressures on us, but if we didn't have the masjid, I can guarantee you we'll be in some kind of trouble. I can guarantee you that. And it's so funny that my friends, not my Muslim friends, but my non-Muslim friends, right now they're enthused about what the masjid means because of the influence it had on us. I'm at work and one of the delivery guys said, I need you to take me to the masjid. I want to take my shahada. And the concept of what he was talking about, I knew what he meant. Right, but he was so enthused that Islam is what it is. Like, it's just what it is because he see it in the character of the human being. But I reflect and I think a lot. If it wasn't for the masjid and my mother and the believers and the community, uncles and aunts keeping me close, man, I'll be struggling just like them. So the masjid was a big, huge light for us. And I don't know the streets. Like I didn't grow up in the streets. I don't know. We influenced by it because the environment is a little different. Right up the street from the masjid is a liquor store, so we see people going up and down the street drunk. But you know, the drug use. But like I didn't grow up in that, so I don't know that. All I know is righteous thinking, righteous understanding, and of course you might fall short in some areas, but because I don't want to be naive to that. But man, alhamdulillah, like the light is the masjid. That's our safe haven in our community.
Yeah, and just to add on to what Imam Hassan and Imam Antar said, the masjid saved our lives. The masjid and the influence of the masjid being sprung around amongst the community saved our lives. And as far as, I think it was Imam Bilal, you said being a beacon of light. Mm-hmm. Correct that terminology or that phrase, being a beacon of light. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you this. When it comes to us, you know, Newark is funny, you know, because everything is so intertwined with one another. Mm-hmm. So it's not out of the ordinary where you can see politician, drug dealers, the 9-to-5 worker, the religious leader, the mailman, or whomever rubbing shoulders with one another. That's why everything is so intertwined with one another. All of us, we get so much respect. And I'm not saying this to be arrogant. I'm not saying this to be boastful because Allah is all the praise, right? We get the utmost respect from some of the so-called biggest gangsters, drug dealers that this city has to offer because through, you know, the trials and tribulations, bumps in the road, what have you, we never compromise for 1 second our nature. And our nature is to be, you know, an upright Muslim. Of course, you know, we in it, like we in the thick of things, you know, we in the trenches each and every day. So we around that element every day. We in the hood every day. But even on our worst day, we never compromise who we are, and we never compromise this religion of Al-Islam. You know, growing up, I always had a strong influence through the masjid, through the community, and also, you know, through my father. Mm-hmm. So having that being embedded in me, I know those of my peers, and Imam Antar's peers, Imam Hassan's peers, they weren't fortunate to have that. What the three of us have, they weren't fortunate to have that. But being around us, we showed them a different light. It wasn't in a sense of us, preaching to them, all day, every day, but just by our character, how we, carry ourselves, how we held ourselves in such regard, it planted seeds in their minds where 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, when we in our 30s now, a little bit older, they'll come up to us and say, you know what, man, back in this when I was ripping and running the streets, you was a positive influence on me. And as I said before, it's not so much you preaching to them, it's just you being showing great character. And that's that's the character that we get from being amongst this community and learning from certain people that were beacons of light in our lives. And so that they had that influence on us at an early age. We are, influences to the whole entire community, those that are younger, those that are in our peer group, and some of those, that are older. And, it's all alhamdulillah.
So Deen mentioned a little earlier that although Newark has a rich history, we can't sort of forget that the city and Al-Islam in the city has sort of gone through some transitions and has some rough spots. And so I want to talk a little bit about sort of where the masjid is now, what's different about the masjid under the new leadership. What do we have to look forward to? Sort of what's to come for the people, for the city of Newark, for the people who attend Masjid Muhammad Newark, for the people who even just come in contact with Masjid Muhammad Newark. How is it different, and what do people have to look forward to?
Well, first and foremost, we're continuing what the previous leaderships, and when I say leaderships, all the way back to James Jr. and so forth. We want to create a model community. We're not at that point of that model community. We're still striving for that. And in order for us to succeed in that, we have to build. And if you listen to my khutbah, I always talk about building. We can't have the most powerful book in the world, the Quran, and not build. Prophet Muhammad says something in the Sahaba, everywhere they went, they built structures, built a sign. So in order for us to progress from where the previous leaders wanted to do, and Allah called most of them back, may Allah forgive them their sins, we have to do these. We have to continue what they started. And we're more modern right now. We're more modern, so we have to continue to keep it modernized as we transition. Right now, we got two properties, and it's hard because when you look at the old masjid, Temple 25 Masjid Muhammad, like Imam Yassin said, is a landmark. But that landmark has a lot of old history that we want to create a new history. We want to tear it down and build. And you have a lot of pioneers that really don't want it torn down because of the history that it brought. But we want to evolve. We want to evolve and create newer history, better history, while tearing it down and building something up that we can recognize in our day and time. So when they walk by, look and say, wow, the Muslims did that. And we can be a benefit for this city as well. Because Masjid Muhammad, Temple 25, has always been a beacon of light for the city of Newark. And if you knew the history where Gibson, before he came in, he came to the Muslims for protection. One of the first black mayors. And we want to continue to have that, be that beacon of light of Newark. We want to be that cornerstone where when a person needs help, they can come and seek help through us. You have your Christian base, they have theirs. You have the Jewish base, they have theirs. We want to have ours. And this is where we're moving forward to, so our community can come straight to us instead of going outside the community, inshallah.
And if I had to add to your question, Sister Marsha, what is it to look forward to? I think the first thing is to establish the family setting at the masjid, right? So anybody that visits the masjid, the first thing they say about Masjid Muhammad Nur, they say it's a family vibe, right? They say it's a family feeling. But we can't say the family feeling without mentioning and including the sisters and the children, right? So pre-COVID, um, the sisters established a sewing program, right? So when we talk about what can it, I'm speaking to a sister's perspective because I know the question was abroad, but I want to speak to the sister's perspective for Marsha's sake while she's on. The sisters established a sisters Islamic studies class, a sisters Arabic class, a sisters sewing class, a sisters cooking class, a children. We was doing movie night for the children, really for the whole community, but getting the children involved. When we say what can we look forward to at the masjid, always first and foremost establishing that community feel where the sisters could say that I'm going to come to the masjid and we have programs available. The brothers, yes, we understand Dawa pushing the word forward as a big, large community thing, a grab and go, which I know we'll talk about. But we want to make sure that we identify and make sure that the sisters and the children have a safe haven, a place that they can come to, and that they know is things to do on the weekend. And I hear it all the time. What happened previous time? We used to say, well, Wednesday night. It was something about Wednesday night pre my era, pre my age. I'm only 33, right? But we're going back to the 70s and the 80s. They said it was something that was going on Wednesday night, which was an Islamic studies class for brothers and sisters. We know Imam Hassan still trying to get me to come out after Fajr. I blame work, but they do the Arabic and Islamic studies class. I'll say Arabic class after Fajr. Islamic studies, we do that when we just walk in the masjid. But for the sake of the children and the sisters, those are the things that we can look forward to once COVID is over. Can we do a better job of getting creative while we're in this pandemic of COVID? Yes. Just like every masajid, just like every center, we can do better, whether it's a Zoom thing, but it's something different when you're in person, when we can do, right? So, but I just want to say what was established pre-COVID when it comes to that. So I want to make sure we highlight the things that we're doing for the sisters effort here at the masjid, to your point, Sister Marsha.
Yeah, and so we have a question from one of our listeners, Brother Craig Drinker, and he says, Assalamu alaikum. I would like for the brothers to talk about the role of sisters in leadership in the community. So and that just ties into is a beautiful transition from what Imam Antar was just mentioning. So can you speak to the role of sisters in leadership in the community?
Imam, you want that one, or you want me to? I want you to take it.
Alhamdulillah. Well, as we know, and we have a beautiful leader here. She's questioning us today, Sister Marsha. She does a lot. I mean, she has hands deep in the community. She has many faces. She does so many things. I don't see how she has the time to do so.
Me either.
We have Sister Adila. We have Sister Osman's wife. Oh, listen, beautiful sisters. And it's a thing that they say, and I don't want to take up everybody because I want everybody to get a chance to talk. But there's a thing that said, behind every great man is a great woman, and we want to change that. And besides every great man, there's a great woman, and our women play a pivotal part in our leadership because they keep us going. Where we slip, they are back to say, "Okay, listen, brother." Especially Smart, she'll let you know. I get next to Bill, like, "Listen, I didn't like that." Sister Dilla should call and she gives us update on what she's doing because they're a very important role. Without them, there's no us. Allah says we came together, two people, one soul. So we can't exempt them. They're part of what came up. And as raised by my mother, I have a mother. So what she did as a child, when I was a child, the things that she did in the community, and I didn't understand at the time. I was a child. Every time I turned around, there was someone in my house sleeping. I had to share my bed. So I would ask my mother, like, Mom, why every time, I got to share my room? I didn't understand her concept, but as I got older, her Islam, her Muslim, and her, whoever needed somewhere to stay, food, shelter, she gave them. So we can never look down on our women. They're beautiful leaders. They're beautiful leaders. Mm-hmm. You have some that's they're ready to do what some men won't do right now, and we should look forward to that, inshallah.
If I can add this too, when Brother Craig asked a question about the roles of the sisters in the community, when a sister comes up with an idea in the community, it shouldn't be downplayed at all.
Absolutely.
It should be cultivated and brought to life, turned into whatever idea that they want because they came up with that thinking, right? And understanding that the sister has so many rights in life, period, as they are the producers of this wonderful children, our wonderful future. So if it's an idea that's planted in their head, instead of downplaying it and say, no, we'll do that another time. No, let's cultivate the idea, bring it to life, and see that idea multiply maybe 10, 15, 20, 30 years later because they saw fit for something that can grow the community right now. So if we begin to listen, accept, cultivate, bring to life, the community will go forward. And that's promising from their roles as leaders as well too. I just wanted to add that.
And just quickly, right, when we look at the role of the sisters, we got to go back to Lady Khadijah. May Allah be pleased with her, having such a great business mind, from that. And now if we go fast forward to, modern times, amongst our community with Claire Muhammad, when, back when Honorable Elijah Muhammad, was locked up, it was her and the sisters that held that, early community down and well, I won't say down, but held them up and helped make progress for that young but growing community at that time frame. As Imam Antar, as Imam Hassan said, the sisters are very valuable because point blank, without the sisters, there's no community whatsoever. There's no community whatsoever, and they provide a whole lot of information, a whole lot of insight, for us. And when it comes down to ideas, when it comes down to fundraisers, it's usually a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, it's the sisters that are behind that. So as Imam Antar, just said a few seconds ago, we can't downplay the sisters' role or just push them to the side. No, this is a collective effort. So we all, what I'm trying to say is, all of us, need to come together, and whatever ideas that they have, we need to cultivate the ideas and bring those ideas into reality, into fruition. But we can't push this community forward, as history has told us, generation after generation. We can't push it further without the sisters, and that's a fact.
See what people don't understand. We have our Lady Khadijah, we have our Hagars, we have Betty Shabazz. We have those sisters right now that's on the front line, actually doing everything they can to create a modern community. And for those sisters for the hard work they're doing. You can never neglect these sisters, because if you look, they what makes us. Like I said, Imam just said, they're the backbones with these fundraisers and so forth. So we have to highlight them, and like Imam Antar stated, when they come with an idea, we have to cultivate that idea, bring it into fruition, whereas though we can build together.
Excellent.
So we talked. I forgot which one of you mentioned it, but somebody mentioned the grab and goes. And so I want you to talk a little bit about what the masjid has been doing since COVID, because as we know, COVID has been a challenge for the community in general. And I know that Masjid Muhammad Newark has done some, has really had an impact in the city during COVID. And so I want you to talk about the initiatives, specifically the grab and go, and give us an idea of how that came together and then how it sort of flourished at the masjid.
As we know, when COVID took place, it was almost towards Ramadan. So we couldn't come to the masjid and break fast because of this COVID. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was the Marsha.
Come on, Marsha, give yourself some credit.
I received a text and about a grab and go, and the brother just asked a question about the women, and we gonna give her due. And it was Sister Marsha that came up with the idea of grab and go.
And you know what? I'm gonna give a little bit of that credit to Deen. You know why? Because, and Deen may not even remember, but we were having a conversation before New Freedom Exchange became a podcast. We used to have meetings about the education and youth development in the community. And when we were talking, he brought up this initiative that was happening somewhere else. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we could do this at the masjid. So I'm gonna give Deen some of that credit too, because that he was sort of the driving force that made me bring it to you.
That's what I'm guessing, and this is why communication and being together is so strong. You know how that idea was passed, and then we took it, and then we ran with it, and then from that it grew. Many massages started doing the grab and go. And again, we couldn't really break fast in the month of Ramadan, so we said, you know what, let's feed the community. Let's feed the community, because Ramadan didn't really happen as it should here. That doesn't mean that there's people out there that are not hungry. So we did it. It was successful. We would send flyers out. Many people were sponsored. And to this day, we haven't did one this month yet. We're doing one next month. The veterans are sponsoring one next month, inshallah. But it's still going to this day. Alhamdulillah. And it benefits us, the believers, because we're doing something that we should do, help the community. And as we're helping the community and they see the Muslims doing this, it will keep something within their minds and their hearts about it. Because, you know, when you look at the media, there's a misconception about Al-Islam.
Yep.
You know, there is a big misconception about Islam, about terrorism, so forth. But we're showing what true Al-Islam represents through our characters and our doing as far as helping the community. Alhamdulillah.
I know for sure. This was for sure. It was that morning, our first grab and go, our very first one. It was the same day as we buried Osman, and such a and it was. I remember it like yesterday. It was beautiful outside, and once we put Osman on the ground so he could get his reward, we had to go back to the masjid and that grab and go we did for Osman that day. And I'm telling you, we did so many dinners for the community. We said, how many did we do? I forgot the number, but we just knew at that particular point it was a food insecurity in our community, right? It's just the reality of it. And it's not just people that's just less fortunate. I want to be very clear, because I'm going to take me a dinner home, and I'm going to say there's going to be a healthy dinner.
Listen, I had to make sure that Imam Antar's plate was right.
Man, let me tell you. And it was just like, look, my plate going to be right. But getting back to the point, man, we did it that day, and I'm telling you, like it turned into something else, man, and it just let us know that like we just had to keep it going. We just had to keep it going. And it's people like me, like, you know, I'm going to get a dinner because I don't feel like cooking, and then but majority of the people is really it's the community that they just don't have it. The reality of it is that, you know, they spending their last bit of money. So when we come through with 200 dinners, and then just the grand iftar grab and go during Ramadan while we fast and doing, man, I don't even know how many dinners we did that made, maybe 3 or 4. It was crazy that day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like it's a blessing. It's rewarding at the end of the day, but it's letting us know that we have a very serious food insecurity in our community that we have to address. And we have different partnerships in the city that's helping helping the community members that lives in the great city of Newark to help with those different food insecurities. But it's the reality of it is that we have to do our part, like Imam Hassan said, as the Muslims.
And also, let me just add on. We're serving food to the community, but to go a step further, if I might add, we're interacting with our neighbors, really. You know, we're interacting with the people that we see walking up and down the block, around the corner, up and down the street, and it's killing that stereotype of the imam's only position is from the member or from the rostrum.
Right.
The real work starts outside the masjid. And as Imam Hassan, Imam Antar, and Sister Marsha, mentioned, we started that, right, in the beginning of Ramadan, when, during the pandemic, well, we still in the pandemic. And, but around this time period, everything, was shut down. About 99% of everything was shut down. And for them to see us out there in the midst of it, as I said before, it's about that beacon of light that you can always count on us to be on the front lines, to service our community, whether it be through food, whether it be through clothing, shelter, or whatever the case is. But just to see us, just our presence alone, where we could just be walking up and down the block to the corner store, or greeting people. They may not necessarily be Muslims per se. Well, I mean, we're all Muslims, by birth, by nature. But certain things, takes us to certain different directions. But just our presence alone, and they see us, they may not be a practicing Muslim. They may be, they may be on alcohol, or some, they just may be going through certain situations in their lives. But they know through our nature that who we are, and that's what their soul is crying out for. So to see our presence out there, and still to this day, that's the real work right there. It's not just inside the masjid, inside the musalla every Friday, and after 2:00, that's it. The real work is when we walk out them doors. That's where the work is at, because they're yearning, their soul is yearning for our presence, because their soul is crying out, for a change, and we're being an example. So the grab and go, it is an intricate part, as far as service in the community, but just our presence and just us, interacting, mingling with the people, it goes a long way, and people take note of that.
I'm not sure who's in charge of the technology on y'all part, but y'all got that donation cash at Marsha Muhammad Noor. I just want to say, go ahead, man. Y'all doing it big over there. That's no problem. Make that cash at Marsha Muhammad Noor.
That's right. Hit up.
Get some donations real quick. I know we're a little competitive here. And I'm looking at the screen, man. We look like the Fab Five, and Marsha running the show, man.
Yes, you put me in the right spot.
And to Imam Yassin's point, when he said dealing with the people,
right?
Anybody, I'm telling you, it's not an individual who's not Muslim who walks past the masjid. Again, they're not Muslim. And they might mess it up a little bit, but you know what they're trying to say. They always say "Assalamu alaikum." They influence because it's the respect that they got for the master, but more importantly, I believe that they know what Islam and the influence they had prior to the year 2020. So it's something about the respect that when they walk past the man, Allah's my Shaheed, we deal with so many different people. And I'm saying this particular point for a reason. The drunkest person walk past the marriage and but you know what they trying to say, and that's the respect, that the regard that the Muslim has, just outside the masjid, but just Newark period. It's something about you, whether I had a kufi on, a thobe on, it's something about your nature that they're gonna come up to you non-Muslim and say assalamu alaikum. They just know. So the influence of al-Islam in Newark is so rich and so strong, man. It's a beautiful thing being from Newark. And as to Imam Hassan point earlier, if you can't, you have to be a special individual. And I'm saying this at 33, and I'm saying this with sincerity. You have to be a special individual to survive the conditions. And I'm not saying Newark is a bad place, but it helps shape you into the individual that you are now, regardless of the age you're at.
And Imam Antar is correct. The respect that they have, like you said, the drunk can walk by and give the peace. You have the young men that have their pants hanging out to their buttocks when they walk by. They're pulling their pants up. Assalamu alaikum. If they got a beer in their hand or whatever, they're hiding it out of that respect. And so we know there's an influence, but we still have to do more. We still have to do more, inshallah.
Before, oh yes, you want to get in? Oh, never mind. But well, I do want to ask Imam Antar, Imam Yasin, because I know y'all got some other things that y'all do on the side. I know Imam Antar got his not-for-profit, Antar's Helping Hands. Can you speak to that a little bit? Talk to people about that. And, you know, Yasin got those leather coats, man. You know what I'm saying? And he got the fitness. He got the New Freedom. We need the New Freedom Exchange Fitness plan, man. Come on,
lifting up park benches, man.
Yes,
lifting up park benches,
lifting tables.
Hey, look, better him than me pushing them tables. I'm gonna let Yasin go first, and I'll speak to the helping hand part later. He got the working out part. I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna eat for dinner tonight. I might get sandwiches.
Right. So basically, like with the coach, right? So it's a partnership. A friend of mine, I consider him, a big brother. His name is Al Sadiq Banks. He's an author. He's born and raised in Newark as well. He's also an author. I think he has written, I believe, over between 13 to 15 books.
Oh yeah.
So far,
you need to bring him on, man.
In the span of 18 years. Wow. And just a quick synopsis. He's one of those examples of coming from the streets, being up the streets, going through whatever the streets have to offer for him, but being able to turn his life around. So alhamdulillah, I've learned a lot from him over the years. And this venture that he started, I would say probably about, I think this is going on the third year now, 3 years ago, as far as, pushing, coats, quality leather coats, whether it's leather, sheepskin, lambskin, Sherlins, you name it, whatever fabric it. All the skins.
Go get your coat, Imam Yasin. Let us see your coat. I want to see your work.
Absolutely. So, it's just an extension. So basically what that shows you is this, right? So we say, Al-Islam is a way of life, right? So it's promoting, a lifestyle, right? So when they see us, and when they see us, just the image of us, the three of us being young out here doing what we're doing, but we're doing it in a righteous manner, right? It's influencing that 17-year-old, that 18-year-old, that 19-year-old that's borderline, and they want to go full throttle, but they just not there yet. So by us, just the image of us being out here and doing what we do is promoting a righteous lifestyle. So to tie in with the coats, as I said before, it's just who I am. I like, I like dressing good. I just like, certain things. So it's just, a quality that we promoting. And, I can shout out to Instagram at Bespoken by Al Sadiq Banks, SPOKENBY Al Sadiq ALS2ADIQ. If you want to check out what we had to offer for the winter, the spring, summertime, we got you covered literally. So that's what we're trying to do. And whenever y'all ready, Bilal Hassan, I know you ready. Because we over here in the tri-state, and you being a weatherman, I know that this is gonna be a brutal winter. So so no one else saying that, right? I know you getting your ducats ready. I know you getting your order ready. So I'm just gonna be sitting here patiently waiting. When I get the call from my brother, I'm gonna deliver.
And his sock game is crazy, y'all. He got a crazy sock game.
Yeah.
Imam Antar. Let's hear about Antar's helping hands. We actually had you on our show before, we came onto the podcast format of doing things when we were on Blog Talk Radio. You were one of our guests. So talk to us a little bit about Antar's helping hands.
Yes, I remember that interview, and I'm only going to be about 3 minutes. Y'all did this in the blessed month of Ramadan, and I remember at the beginning of the interview, I said, I pray to Allah, y'all don't go past break fast, because I'm going to definitely cut that interview short. But alhamdulillah, y'all made it happen. But I just want to say, I believe it was 2020 now. I believe it's crazy because time go past so fast. Mm-hmm. I want to say it was the 2017. The idea came up. I was in my brother's office in Philadelphia at the time. Raheem, y'all know him, brother Deen. Imam Hassan, Yasin, Bilal. I was in his office in Philadelphia, and I said, "Man, I got to do something to help the less fortunate." And I was struggling with the name, and then he was over there doing whatever he was doing, and I said, "We're gonna call it Antar Helping Hands." Antar Helping Hands. So it came about in December 2017. And at the time, I was taking a bus to work. At the time, I just didn't feel like driving. It was a snowstorm. I didn't want to get stuck in my car in the snow. So I had enough money on me to get on a bus, and I got to Penn Station North, only to realize I didn't have no money on me. I was hit for that day. But alhamdulillah, when I got to my office in Jersey City, it was a coworker, because I drink like 3 or 4 cups of coffee. I don't know if that's a good thing, but I drink 3 or 4 cups of coffee a day, and I just had enough money to get home. And she came in the office and she got me a cup of coffee. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm good with breakfast. And then next thing you know, lunchtime came. I'm a pretty big guy, man. My stomach started growling. Next thing you know, somebody treated me to lunch. So I'm like, wow, look, there's a lot coming through for me for breakfast and lunch. And dinner, I knew I was going to eat when I got home. And then as soon as I got home, the same individual that was asking me for money when I was going to work was some of the same individuals when I was going home. And it was a snowstorm that day. At this time, I called Chef Haas up, our personal chef at the masjid, and I said, Haas, I said, I need some dinner. And I said, I need some dinners tomorrow. Whatever the cost is, that's what we're going to do. So I think Haas made like 35 dinners, and it was still snowing that day. And next thing you know, we just gave out 35 dinners, and that was the birth of it. From there, we partnered up with the YMCA in Newark, New Jersey. We partnered up with the different churches in Newark. Jersey City was the first stomping grounds. I'm from Newark, but I work in Jersey City the last 8 years with St. Lucie shelters, and we've been giving dinners and things like that to the less fortunate in Jersey City and Newark for the last 3 years. COVID changed a lot of it, with how we doing certain things now. So we definitely had slowed down. But we still find different ways, again, still sponsoring grab and goes at the masses under Antar Helping Hands, which helped a lot big time. So it was me going to work, not having nothing, coming back home from seeing the same individuals asking me for something, but Allah had blessed me and I didn't have no money. So I said, nah, I got to do something about it. And then from there, alhamdulillah, it birthed it, and we just trying to take it to a whole nother level. And of course, I bring everybody in, Marsha girls, Yasin, Imam Hassan. I bring the whole masjid crew. I bring everybody in so we can just try to do a little bit more to help serve the less fortunate in our community. And I'm just really doing it on a minor scale. But for the last 3 years, I'm trying to look at my Facebook memories. I said, man, I can't believe we did this in just a short amount of time. And just it's funny how people just looking to just continue to donate and to give more to our organization. But COVID definitely changed how we definitely do things for sure. I remember doing something for the YMCA just when COVID started. And first thing, Miss Michelle, one of the coordinators, she said, "Mr. Mateen, you can't use the styrofoam no more." I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "We could use a styrofoam to go to that we use at the mash. It had to be like the quality plastic ones because we had to bring the food and we couldn't serve them no more. It had to be prepackaged when you give the food out now." So those are one of the things that was changing. The city of Newark has an ordinance where you got to get permits to serve now. So a lot of things change, but it can be done. But the dynamic change for sure. But we're just looking to do more. So follow Antar Helping Hands. It's a Facebook page on Facebook, Antar Helping Hands, and also you can follow Antar Helping Hands on Instagram as well too. Antar Helping Hands 123. That's on Instagram.
And then Imam Hassan, you mentioned earlier about the personal training. Can you just give us an overview of what you do with that?
Yes, I'm a founder of Eat to Live, Fit to Live Fitness, where I do consultation. I show people how to eat and work out. I fell behind because trying to maintain imam and working and family life, it's a lot. But I got to get back into it. I had a lot of clients. Also, I taught boxing training techniques and so forth. But I'm slacking there. But inshallah, I will get back. Once this COVID died down, Sister Marsha says, "Be ready now," because she was one of my clients there, that complained as well. She complained.
Yes, I did. Like, no, I ain't doing no more. I'm done.
But again, it's Eat to Live, Fit to Live Fitness.
Nice. And so I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't bring up in reference to Masjid Muhammad Newark, if I didn't bring up Islamic education and just education in general, right? Because that's something that's sort of a big initiative at the masjid that we're hoping that it sort of flourishes, and not just for Muslim children, but for children in the community as a whole. We know that there's such a big attack on the humanity, right? And so as much as possible, you want to do things that protect our children and maintain their innocence. So talk to us a little bit about Klein Muhammad School and education in general, the masjid.
When you speak about let's just say the name, Klein Muhammad. I'm going to reference the story when Elijah was incarcerated and they came to her house, and if I'm not mistaken, it was pertaining to her children going to school, and she was like, "Over my dead body," and she taught her children. So that strength that she showed and she portrayed, that alone, Klein Muhammad, when you have a school, Klein Muhammad, we have to do the same. Teach our children. We have a lot at stake here when we let the public and don't get me wrong. At some point, public schools are okay, but it's better for you to teach your own, because now what they need to learn, Islam and also the curriculum of the state, you can teach them and know what they've been taught, and you don't have to worry about certain things, negativities in the schools, and also they'll learn the essence of Islam. We have a Klein Muhammad school. Unfortunately, this COVID changed a lot of things. We don't have a teacher this time, but we're looking for a teacher. We want to teach our own. And we would have had a bigger class because I have about $7,000. So I told my son and said, "We put all the grand in the school. Like, come on now. I can't be an imam and then my grandchildren, we promote Klein Muhammad School, my grandchildren going to a public school." So I told my son, I said, "Listen, bring them here and I'll help pay the cost." But educating our children is very, very important. If we don't educate them, someone else will. And others that are educating our children is not of our own, their interests are not the best in their heart. And right now, that's why a lot of our children right now are running amok in the streets today, because the other influences. Now, don't get me wrong, Allah controls all, but we can do our best and they still run amok. But it's a better chance what we taught them will oversee the steps that they take in those streets. And teaching starts at home. at first. It starts with the mother. And I truly think and wholeheartedly, if we want to raise our children accordingly, we need to teach them ourselves. So put your children in Claire Muhammad School and know that they're being learned, they're taught the best, they're learning the best, not only as far as teaching morals and excellence that will be given, and you can look forward to them, inshallah, being that leader, being that person of interest that can come back and help the community, inshallah. But Sister Marsha, again, she has her hand knee deep in everything. And alhamdulillah to her, I asked her to be our principal, and she brought a lot of ideas, And she's a great teacher as well. And she's a mom. So she knows how sensitive it is for our children to be taught by us and not other influences, inshallah.
If I may add to Imam Hassan's point, that important piece of education, right? I want to add two major points. The first point is that my mother, may Allah bless her all the time, right? She made sure that all, I got so many brothers and sisters, twins, love. She made sure all of us went to Claire Muhammad School from kindergarten to the 8th grade. And my mother was so keen on making sure that we went to Claire Muhammad School. If she didn't have the tuition, I seen my mother make fish dinners to cover the tuition. She did everything she could to make sure that we got the proper Islamic education. I want to make that point. She sacrificing so much to make sure that we got the proper Islamic education for sure. And I'm grateful to Allah for her for that particular sacrifice. Fast forward, when we went to public school, we was protected from so much that we had to learn some things and catch up to speed real quick, but it shielded us from a lot of things, right? So that's what that Muhammad School did for us. Now, in Claire Muhammad School, we had the greatest teacher ever, teacher Shahida, Sister Laverne, Brother Mark, Sister Purnell, and who was my master teacher was Teacher Umakaya Sharif. And what Teacher Umakaya used to do, this is the kind of education that we got from her. Sit down and write your 99 attributes. And I could tell you, Ar-Rahman, the merciful benefactor, Ar-Rahim, the merciful redeemer, Al-Malik, the king, Al-Qudus, the holy, As-Salam, the peace, Al-Muhammad, the protector, Aziz, the almighty. We know the 99 attributes right now to this day. Why? Because Teacher Makaya instilled that into us. Teacher Makaya, I'm done. Okay, write them again. But write them again before I tell Imam Ali Muslim. So we were writing our 99 attributes 5 and 6 times a day to the point that it was instilled in us. Fast forward, now we're reading the Quran in the morning. The minute that we walk in 7:30, we're reading the Quran in the morning. And with us reading the Quran in Arabic and in English, Teacher Makaya used to get the biggest word in English and tell us to break down that word to make 20 to 30 different words. And in that, now we have to write an essay. And then we have to go in front of the classroom and teach exactly what it is that we had using the word. This was the kind of thinking that she had, but she only could do it with an independent education system because the public school won't allow us to do that. In addition, she let us go to Kenny Fried Chicken on Fridays to go get our lunch. That's the benefit of going to Claire Muhammad School. We can leave and go to lunch. My favorite, because we were going to see Muhammad across the street. On top of that, we always stopped and we had prayer, independent education, Claire Muhammad School. We made the 5, in this case, we made 2 salats. It would have been Dua and Asa. Depending on if we didn't have the right pickup, we might be there for Maghrib too, right? And if Imam Ali talking, we'll definitely be there for Isha, right? But also stopping for Jummah. We had the ability to stop for Jummah. And not only did we understand how important prayer is in the Islamic education system, we understood that we read Quran, We participated in the month of Ramadan. We had we put together Muslim plays, right? We did all of this in the Claire Muhammad school system, in addition to learning business, right? Where Imam Akbar, I used to work for Imam Akbar, right? Allah is my witness. Imam Akbar used to go to the jails to teach in the jails, right? They had a crew. It was Brother Dawood, Imam Kareem Shaki, Imam Akbar, and a few others. I sold bean pies for Imam Akbar. I had 20 bean pies. I had shea butter from Imam Ali Muslim. So I knew every Friday, no matter what, I was putting $25 in my pocket every Friday. But I was getting everything else in the whole interim of everything. So Islamic education it's important. It's an independent institution, right, that benefits us in our whole all together. So if I didn't have that experience at that young age, right, I'm telling you, I wouldn't be thinking the way I be thinking now. Basically, nobody can't tell me that I can't do nothing. And I say that with humility. When I say nobody can't tell me nothing, because I learned from minds like Teacher Micaiah. I learned from minds like Imam Ali Muslim, Teacher Shahida, Sister Purnell, Sister Laverne, right? Imam Akbar, his business sense, right? From taking a product and flipping a bean product from $1 and I'm selling it for $2.50. I got that from him. Like, let's get the flip, right? So, like, if I didn't go to that independent thinking and that mindset, right, I wouldn't be who I am today. So they say, well, how you become your man, right? I'll say, look, that's a whole nother story. But look, I can't declare Muhammad School first. So let's put the seed and the sprinkle on that first.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Also, I don't know if you probably noticed, excuse your teacher, Sister Makai. We used to call Sister Makai with the red hot fire. You know what I mean? That's what we had a.
Can I just add? I just like to add something to what Imam Antar mentioned about the what instilled him, as far as Claire Muhammad School, what it did for him as a young man developing into what he is now. As I'd like to let everyone know that I am also a product of the Claire Muhammad School system. You know what I'm saying? Here in Corona, Queens, and that I too relate to what Imam Antar is saying. I do, and it is true that the education, the teachers, the volunteers, these people are amazing. The people that we have in our community are amazing. The elders that we have in our community are amazing, and they have sacrificed so much to run these institutions, to keep these institutions thriving. And also on the other hand too, I know what the Imam Muhammad instructed us to do, and he told us, he said, well, if you're not going to run the Claire Muhammad School right, take my mother's name off the building. Like, if you're not going to do it justice, if you're not going to run it right, take her name off the building. Call it whatever you want to call it. So we know now that our schools are in dire straits. We're down to very few that are left functioning. Some are semi-functioning. Some are functioning more better than others in some capacities. But we know that we can do better. We know that there needs to be some renewed vision, and there needs to be some renewed commitment, since on behalf of the community, for our institutions to thrive, because the Imam said education is our number one priority. Where we see our children right now is they're stuck up in the culture. That's what this podcast also hits, that cultural piece. They're stuck in the culture where they're getting influenced by the shaitan on a daily basis. Imam Hassan talked about this a little earlier. You understand what I'm saying? So in order to counter that, we know that education has to start at the home base. We're having a healthy family institution, establishing healthy family institution, to whereas, we can have healthy educational centers of learning. So, we just want to think about that. We want to definitely make that our priority as, we move forward as a community, as a group, that, this education, the Claire Muhammad School system is open, not just to the Muslim, that is open even to the Christians. And I feel, and anyone else that wants to get the education, because I went to school and there were some Christians that were amongst the ranks. We didn't force them to pray. So I'm saying, they joined the ranks to pray. So they didn't force them to fast. Some of them observed it to fast because they saw us do it. They said, oh yeah, that looks cool, man. Like, we want to do it too. You know what I'm saying? So they understand the value. Anybody understands the value of being taught by your own, especially now, considering the climate that we're in, considering the importance of historically Black colleges, universities. Now, a lot of top athletes are going to HBCUs. They're seeing the value they're saying the value of being taught by your own, and then we have to instill that at an early age, and it starts at home.
And just to add, Bilal, just briefly, education, or especially independent education, because we, just to tie this all in,
sure,
it produces the new strain or strand of leadership,
absolutely,
coming in to the community. Now me personally, I didn't go to Claire Muhammad School, but my father went. During the time back when it was, on the cusp, when it was Muhammad University and was transitioned. When it transitioned into Claire Muhammad School, he used to teach social studies. And my older sister, she went to Claire Muhammad during her preschool to about like second grade years. So the values, although I wasn't there personally, I didn't go to Claire Muhammad School personally, the values that that was instilled, that my father and my family got from it, it was instilled in me. And the point is of education, as I said before, it produces leadership, and it serves, I think someone has said it, I forget, it serves as a safe haven for our young kids, not just the Muslims, but as you said before, for Christians and all walks of life. Because to be honest with you, as we say, education, certain things start at home and it should start at home, but a lot of these kids don't have a home to go to.
That's true.
True. I mean, that's just reality that we're in. So for us to still have, Claire Muhammad School, whether it's here or throughout, the community, throughout the country, is very, very, very important that we continue to keep this going, because it ain't just about having a school just to say that we have a school. It's to have a school so we can continue to transform the lives of these kids that are out here, because their soul is yearning for guidance. Their soul is yearning, basically, for guidance. As Imam Antar, talked about his personal experience, as a kid, coming up in the school, in the Claire Muhammad School, and how so many of the teachers had an impact on his lives. You know what I'm saying? But it don't end just there. We're now in the same position that, that we are in the same position of our teachers that we looked up to back then. We in that position, we in that seat right now, whether we know it or not, and people are looking at us. So now, puts us in a position where we got to carry on tradition and be a blessing and be a beacon of light. I guess that's the phrase for tonight. Be a beacon of light, for those that are amongst us.
Excellent. Well, you all have been tuned in to New Freedom Exchange live here on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. And if you like what you're hearing, like what you have heard this evening, ask that you share this with your friends, share this worldwide, let people know what's going on here on this podcast, on this platform. And we would love to thank our beloved brothers, our beloved imams, Imam Hassan Sharif, Imam Antar, Mateen, Imam Yasin Shabazz, for stopping by and giving us this update, giving us their knowledge, their feedback as relates to the history of Al-Islam in Newark, what's going on at Marsha Muhammad, Newark, and etc. Donations at the bottom. We need donations for our brothers to keep doing what they're doing and keep the community flowing. So donations, Cash App, Marsha Muhammad Newark, man, keep those grab and goes going. That's important. To feed the indigent. That's important. It's an important aspect of our faith, is to feed those less fortunate and those who just fell into hard times. Maybe they're not poor, like was stated. They just fell on hard times. They lost their job. They don't have no food. Due to COVID, etc. So donations, Cash App. Also, don't forget Claire Muhammad Newark. Can't forget Claire Muhammad Newark. You register your child. They need teachers too. If you can spare some time, spare some time and spare some of your expertise. That's the number right there, 973-991-0246. That's the number to reach the Claire Muhammad School of Newark if you need to donate or you need to register your child and your student. Is there any other updates we have, Dean, that you want to read off?
Just also the reminder of the Making It Halal. We still have our partnership with Making It Halal group to get your halal certified international certification for those who make their homemade products to get into the global market. We know one of our instructions was that business is dawa and also halal is our economy. And so for us to get a piece of this $80 trillion global economy, why not certify and connect with the halal industry and get our share? So that's going across the screen at the bottom, tinyurl.com/make it halal on NFX.
Also, don't forget our Patreon. We also striving here to produce daily content. As you all see, we're on here almost every day, but we're striving to produce more daily content for you all. So the Patreon helps out. So if you guys want to come in at any level of those tiers that I mentioned on the patreon.com/NFX daily, all contributions will be appreciated as well. And we cannot forget, don't forget to get your letter coats. Don't forget to get your letter coats. You know.
Now, just to be clear, right? Just to be clear, that picture right there, that's not one of our coats. That's an old Sergio Tacchini windbreaker. So we got to get.
No! You got to put a coat up on there. You got to put a coat up on there.
As a matter of fact,
you gotta go grab the coat. Hold on, he gotta go grab the coat.
I gotta go grab the coat because we got to do it right. Imam Hassan. I'm gonna have Imam Hassan. I'm gonna hold on.
God, yeah, man.
So as you can see, like this is a two-tone joint right here. Two-tone joint, motorcycle jacket, green on half, black on body, lambskin. So this is just, one of the things that we do. We got other things. We got Mouton furs, we got mates, we got Sherlins, Toscana, Australian fur. You name it, we got it in good quality. So that Instagram, as we have it at the bottom, Instagram at Bespoken by Al Sadiq, BESPOKEN, Al Sadiq, ALSAADIQ. It's gonna be a cold winter as our weatherman. Is gonna give us permanent information. It's gonna be a cold winter, so make sure you get your orders in. As you can see me ripping and running the streets, all up and down the streets with my measuring tape. I got the measuring tape in the car, so if you need your measurements, just hit me up. You know where to reach me. I'm here. And let me tell you something, and let me end on this note. Imam Antar, he got a mean mess color jacket.
I saw that.
A mean joint right
there.
That.
I saw that. Well, he got a gift. I'm trying to get my gift too. I remember when he got that gift. I'm trying to get my gift, Imam. Yes, sir.
Listen, Sister Marsha, we got you. We got to get Imam Hassan measured up. So Yeah, absolutely.
Don't forget Antar Helping Hands too. Don't forget Antar Helping Hands.
Yes.
For what he does. Don't forget that Facebook Antar Helping Hands as well. Keep the Jamaat tight. We will support our own. Imam Yassin. He's not the only one doing big things in the streets. I saw that Star Speed joint, so that joint look extra crispy. So much love to the brothers, man. Shout out to the Ghost, man. Shout out to the Ghost. We appreciate you, brothers, man. We appreciate you all. Any last words? Any last words to the people, man?
We appreciate you all. Keep up the great work. Keep up the great work. We appreciate you all. We thank you, Sister Marsha, man, Bilal. Mujadeen, miss you, bro. Miss you.
I love you, man. Yes, sir. We'll do.
All I'm gonna say is you Imam Deen, you made a smooth transition, and that's all I'm gonna say. And I love that. I love that. You made a real smooth Hey, look, all I'm gonna say is this: they would have got me. They would have got me real good. I wouldn't have heard the end of it. But you real smooth, brother, man. So I'm gonna call you and get some notes from you.
We come from the same room, y'all know it. But we thank you all for joining in. New Freedom Exchange, your cultural expression for social dignity and community empowerment. How we want to leave them? I got Dying for Love. I got Bashir Jones. How we want to leave them tonight?
Wait, okay, Dying for Love, and what's the other one?
Bashir Jones.
Oh, I want to do Bashir Jones.
Freedom.
That's my bro.
Councilman future mayor of Cleveland, inshallah, he get that mayor position. Future mayor of Cleveland coming soon. We thank you all for tuning in. Subscribe, like, share. Until next time, peace.
Assalamualaikum.
Peace. Waalaikumsalam to Allah.
Really emotional, man. Bravo, I appreciate you, man. Mac, I appreciate you, man. Davey, what's up, man? It's our time, man. Jesse Jackson, he said that we are somebody. America treat us like we ain't nobody. We need help from somebody. I'm getting tired of seeing black bodies. We'll be okay, that's what my mama said. We unhealed, that's what the trauma said. Yes, we can. That's what Obama said. American terror. That's what Osama said. You want to break something, go and break the ceiling. You want to start something, go and start the healing. How you want to raise hell but won't raise your children? Want to burn the building but won't start building. I want the violence to decrease. Whether it's the streets or it's the police. Yo, be a real one. Stay away from snakes. I gotta make a change, no time to waste.
Tell me what you see when you look at me. Is it something that you hate, or something that you wanna be? Help me understand how you can be so mad at my existence. On our way to freedom, on our way to freedom, fighting for our freedom, fighting for our freedom. On our way to freedom, on our way to freedom, fighting for our freedom, fighting for our freedom.
The system ain't broken, doing what it's supposed to do, realest words spoken. Kill us in live and live in color, brother choking, called on his mother, dead in the open. Anybody go and break some glass. It take a real one, bro, to give a class. Anyone can pull a gun and start to blast, but it takes a real man to give a pass. Be proactive, not reactive. How I make a change, Bashir? Be active. Boy, you go and sell some dope, but won't go and vote. Father left early, he don't know how to cope. I came too far, boy can't fail. They said I'm a sellout, shit, what I sell? I don't never fold, I don't never fold. And what's not for sale, brother, is my soul. A question you gotta answer, brother, what's your goal? You wanna be a diamond or stay cold? You gotta change the system. Shit, you can break a window, but they gon' fix them. My point is, you expect a racist to change? He ain't the problem. You gotta change your brain. Benefit from oppression, but when you gonna change and learn the lesson? When you gonna realize that you a blessing? Gotta work in the afterlife, I'll do my resting. When you gonna realize that you the blessing? Gotta work in the afterlife, I'll do my resting. It's the truth.
Freedom is not won by a passive acceptance of suffering. Freedom is won by a struggle against suffering. Racial understanding is not something that we find, but something that we must create. What is needed is a realization that power without love is reckless and abusive, and that love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best is love. implementing the demands of justice. Justice at its best is love correcting everything that stands against